The draft notice arrived on June 17, 1968. It was a humid afternoon, I remember, cloudy and very quiet. I had just come back from a round of golf. My mother and father were having lunch out in the kitchen. I remember opening up the letter, scanning the first few lines, feeling the blood go thick behind my eyes.
Mr. O'Brien, we are pleased to inform you that on May 2nd, you need to report to the draft office on 22nd and 3rd Avenue between 2 and 4 p.m. to be officially inducted into the Army. We expect you there. General George S. Patton. The Army? The Army? I hate the Army.
I remember a sound in my head. I wasn't thinking. It was just a silent howl. A million things all at once. I was too good for this war. Too smart, too compassionate, too everything. It couldn't happen. I was above it. I had the world. Phi Beta Kappa and summa cum laude, and president of the student body, and a full-ride scholarship for grad studies at Harvard. A mistake, maybe. A follow-up in the paperwork. I was no soldier. I hated Boy Scouts. I hated camping out. I hated dirt and tents and mosquitoes. The sight of blood made me queasy, and I couldn't tolerate authority, and I didn't know a rifle from a slingshot. I was a liberal. If it needed fresh bodies, why not draft some back to the Stone Age hawk? Or some dumb jingo in his hard hat and bomb Hanoi button? Or one of LBJ's pretty daughters? Or Westmoreland's whole family? Nephews and nieces and baby grandson? There should be a law, I thought. If you support a war, if you think it's worth the price, that's fine. But you have to put your own life on the line. You have to head for the front and hook up an infantry unit and help spill the blood. And you have to bring along your wife, or your kid, or your lover. A law, I thought. Dear Mom and Dad, I'm off to find myself. Will call. Love, Tim. Tim, trying to escape his duty, took off to the Tip Top Lodge on the border of Canada.
It's going to be 50 a night. 4 nights, that's a pretty hefty figure. Why don't we knock that down a little bit? What do you think's a reasonable figure?
I'd say about 40 is enough.
Sounds good, sounds good. Then we got to add in food. That's about 100. So 260 total?
Yeah, that seems fine, I guess.
Too much?
No, it's fine.
No, you know, we forgot wages. All the odd jobs you did around here. How much do you think that you got paid for that?
Not enough.
Had a bad job?
Well...
And so Tim told him of his days at the plant. It was a straight recitation of facts to begin, but eventually it turned into a life story. He told of blood clots, water guns, and slaughterhouse sounds.
Well, I think for the odd jobs you've done around here it would be $15 an hour. That seem fair?
Yeah.
On my last full day, the 6th day, the old man took me out fishing on the Rainy River. The afternoon was sunny and cold. A stiff breeze came in from the north, and I remember how the little 14-foot boat made sharp rocking motions as we pushed off from the dock. The current was fast. All around us, I remember, there was a vastness to the world, an unpeopled rawness, just the trees and the sky and the water reaching out toward nowhere. The air had the brittle scent of October. 10 or 15 minutes, Elroy held a course upstream, the river choppy and silver gray. Then he turned straight north and put the engine on full throttle. I felt the bow lift beneath me. I remember the wind in my ears, the sound of the old outboard Evinrude. For a time I didn't pay attention to anything, just feeling the cold spray against my face. But then it occurred to me that at some point we must have passed into Canadian waters, across that dotted line between two different worlds, and I remember a sudden tightness in my chest as I looked up and watched the far shore come at me. This wasn't a daydream. It was tangible and real. As we came in toward land, Elroy cut the engine, letting the boat fishtail lightly about 20 yards offshore. The old man didn't look at me or speak. Bending down, he opened up his tackle box and busied himself with a bobbler, and a piece of water leader, humming to itself, his eyes down.
Thanks for letting me stay. I'm off to Vietnam.